the most ambitious people and wise people I know, and well beyond the years, by the way. And everyone that connects with her, I know you're going to be better because of it. So don't take that for granted. Um, your net, your net worth is about, who you net with, who you network with. It's all about that. It's not about how much you know. Sometimes it's about who you know. And I really believe Catherine brings life, hope, and opportunity to people all over the country. So, as she mentioned, my name is Tony Chamblee. I reside out of Delaware. My wife, Latoya, and I are business partners. We got married, meeting each other in business. So I've been in business for 20 plus 25 years. We're coming about on our 25th anniversary this July. And we have 5 kids and 3 grandkids. And business is our life. My kids don't know us doing anything else but being in business. And the name of our company, so you know, let me bring that PowerPoint up so you can see it real quick. The name of our company is Core Financial Partners, and Core actually stands for Coalition of Rising Entrepreneurs. So that's what Core stands for. So we don't just talk about it; we live it. And here's my PowerPoint right here. Let me start from the beginning real quick. So that's Core right there, and it stands for Coalition of Rising Entrepreneurs. And it's all built upon me working with entrepreneurs because I came up as an entrepreneur, and in some areas I had great coach. In some areas it was totally neglected. In the area that was neglected, in me being an entrepreneur early in my life, in my mid 20s, um, showed me that it's a missing piece in most people's arsenal going forward. And we want to bridge that gap for you in going forward. That you don't go out there trying to guess what to do with the money that you're going to make. Okay, I want to give you some principles to live upon and build upon, and then I'm going to give you some tangible things that we do when it comes to becoming your own bank. So the first thing I want to do is this right here. Let me show you this real quick. I want to show you the 4 pillars that I believe everybody should be striving for. And at Core Financial Partners, this is what we do. And by the way, Catherine has partnered with Core, so you're going to get complimentary services through Core based off your relationship with her. That's why I say everybody's going to be better because of them knowing someone like a Catherine Trotter. The first pillar I want to talk about real quick is eliminate bad debt and put yourself in a position for good debt. What's the difference in the two? Bad debt, you end up spending money. Good debt, you end up making money. It is that simple. So I don't know if you created business credit yet or not. That's something that I know Catherine is going to be able to help you with, and our firm as well. Building business credit is so important. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur under the sound of my voice. The second pillar is creating a private pool of capital for 3 reasons. One, for emergencies. Number 2 is for life expected events, and number 3 for opportunities. Right? Emergencies we know going to happen. That goes with goes without being said, having to be said. And then life expected events is stuff that you're going to do every year. You're going to do once a year, maybe twice a year. Go on vacation, take care of the kids, and shopping for holidays and birthdays and back to schools, things of that nature. Things that you know once or twice a year is going to cost several $100s or more. And then here's the most important one: opportunities. I call it should be a opportunity fund that you should be building up. Like as an entrepreneur, we should be doing profits first. I don't know if you ever read the book Profits First. Get that book and read that book, because I find too many entrepreneurs, what they do, they put the money on the back end of paying themselves. We have to pay ourselves first, right? And as an entrepreneur, it helps you to position yourself to do bigger and better things in the future. So number 2 is having ready cash. What is that? It should be built up to about 6 months of what your income should be. You want to build that up and then grow it from there. It's a fund that should grow forever. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 pillar of really having significance in your pursuit for greatness is create an income that you don't have to work for and you cannot outlive. Right? I believe that in our country, and going to traditional school, we've been taught and we've been kind of took down the road of indoctrination versus true financial education. And the difference is they talk about retirement. Retirement in the government eyes is a number. In our eyes, it's an age, excuse me. In our eyes, it should be a number that dictates I can walk away and still take care of myself the same way I was doing before while I was working for the rest of my life, right? As long as I can take care of myself through my life expectancy. Say your life expectancy is 85 to 90 years old and you retire at 70. Will your money last until then? That's true wealth. How long your money lasts is the true wealth of your money. Rich is having a lot of money, but money, how long it lasts is how wealthy you are. So keep that in mind. So that's what we do at Core. We make sure, and we want to make sure you're getting this, and you're going to get it from Kevin, trust me, is that is your way of building is going to take care of you when you walk away. What is your succession plan? Making sure you have that in place. And then number 4 is making sure what you gain and what you accomplish is that you can leave a legacy behind with wealth and wisdom, right? It's not enough to leave money behind to our heirs. It's just as important to leave the education behind with it as well. Because those that get the education with the wisdom, I mean get the wisdom with the wealth, they end up perpetuating it to future generations. If you never heard the story of the Vanderbilts versus the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers too, they have money that it can't be counted right now. They are in the trillions today because they left wealth and wisdom. The Vanderbilts didn't. The Vanderbilts left money, and today they don't have one millionaire in their family. It's only about 100 years later, right? So that's about 3 to 4 generations. So what we're making sure people are sound with is making sure they leave wealth and wisdom. Okay, so those are the 4 pillars. If you didn't talk to me ever again, these are the 4 pillars you want to build upon because this can lay a solid foundation and leave a legacy behind as well. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, let me go and show you a visual, and then I'm going to get out your way real quick. Let me grab my other visual, and then I'm going to show you what becoming a banker is all about by controlling the finances in your life. Let me grab that. See if I can find that real quick here. Okay, there it is. Okay, this is a visual. You can see this. Some look at it as a gas pipe system or water filter system. It's really a personal economic model is what is really coined. This was designed to show you the truth about how money really works. So I want to show it to you, a brief overview with this real quick. And let me see if I can grab my pointer here. Yep, I think I got it. Let's see if it allows me to draw. Yep, I got it. Okay, so what I want to show you is that what we do, we're going to make money, especially being in entrepreneurship. You're going to make money. You're going to make a ton of money, and that's why this is the biggest tank right here because you're going to make a ton of money that's going to flow through this personal economy of yours. But the thing about it, because we have monthly responsibilities, it's not going to stay there. It's going to be a inflow that's going to go through here, and in most cases you're going to end up having to take care of Uncle Sam in your pursuit to taking care of yourself as well. So this is where Uncle Sam is going to get his piece, right? And it depends on how you set yourself up, whether you set yourself up with a 1099 or a W-2, depending on how you incorporate yourself. Well, anyway, somehow or another, taxes are normally going to be paid. And then the rest of it, you take care of yourself and you spend it. And when you spend your money and taking care of yourself and your overhead of your business, it's spent and gone forever, right? Whatever that is, right? However, though, what we want to do in the pursuit of that is we want to make sure this diverter valve right here, I have to turn this off for a second to show you that. Let me see if I can turn this off. Okay, this diverter valve right here, if you can see right there, that says 80%. What the 80% means is that you're going to live off 80% of your income, and it's going to be spent and gone forever. Whatever that takes to take care of your household and your business, it's 80% going out. Remember, I talked about profits first, paying yourself. So that 20% should be going up through this funnel. Let me turn that back on. It should be going up through this funnel right here, right? And through this funnel is called the diverter valve at the top. The diverter valve determines where I want to put my money and what percentage I'm going to put in that particular vehicle. Most people put about 15 to 20%. If they had 20%, almost 15 to 20% is actually going to go into an investment account, right? And then they maybe save a few dollars that's in a account that's safe and sound and can't lose principal, right? And that's what most people do. And the reason why most people do that is because of this right here. A lot of people are saving money through a qualified plan, right? So the qualified plan goes in here, and that's going to be in a risky tank, right? And the risky tanks always means you have the potential to lose principal, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, here's what I want to show you today. This is what Catherine wanted to make sure everybody here was able to see and understand. There's a way to reserve this money in a safe account, right, and still get the growth of it as you would if it was in an investment account, right? So let's say you was able to save your money over here. Let me get this out my way. Let's say you grow your money over here. Oh, I didn't get rid of it. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. You didn't get rid of it, and you're saving 20%, 15 to 20% over here. Because most people, this is what most people personal economy looks like. They have about 5%, 1 to 5% over here, and then they put all the rest of it over here, right? And I don't find that as being good planning and good management. And the reason why, because you're putting a lot of money at risk that you work your sweat, equity, and tears for. And here you did 20 years of this, and all of a sudden the Wall Street falls apart or plummet, and all that work is down the drain. You can ask anybody that lived it through 2008, the biggest crash that we ever had in our lifetime happened in 2008. I believe it's going to happen again in our lifetime. So we have to be careful on what we allocate money to. That's why there's this divertible over here. I believe it should be the other way around. I believe it should be over here where you fund the max, and over here you fund the minimum. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. As an investor, as we build in our business and we having extra money, and you don't want the money sitting still in one place. I can promise that as well. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you want to put it in a position where you grow, and it's safe, and you're getting a nice fair rate of return. Now, here's the thing that happens. Remember, I said 80% of your money is going out here is going to take care of your lifestyle. It might be a home, it might be a vehicle, it might be education for you and yourself and your family. It's going to be dining out and taking care of home, food at home. It could be, clothes, and it could be vacations, and it could be all these things are lifestyle expenditures, right? And so here's where we find we can help people put away more money than even the 20%. Because what if you can funnel your money through a system that you can leverage your money and still take care of all these, need, wants, and desires, and not spend it away from yourself? Because remember, 80% is being spent. And how long is it gone when you spend it away from yourself for these need, wants, and desire? It's gone forever. You never can bring money back that's spent out there, right? Well, we have a methodology and a concept called Become Your Own Banker. And this is how it works. You save, whether it's 5% or it's 50% of your income. You save it. And what we can do in the position of that is we can position ourselves as a person we call a wealth creator. A wealth creator, they build their savings up to turn around and leverage it, not spend it. So say you save $30,000 in here, right? $30,000 is saved here. And you now want to put a down payment on a new home, right? Or you want to put a down payment on a new business, or you want to take care of business overhead. Well, most people take their money out of their savings account where they save their money at and spend it down, right? And here's what happens when you do that. You have lost the velocity of the growth that money would earn you in the future. It's called lost opportunity cost, right? If you spend 10 of the 30, you only got 20 left, and $10,000 not making money for you anymore can be very costly when we don't understand how money works, right? So what we have come to find out, you can have $30,000 in here and say, I need 10, and not have to take it out of here. This position of Become Your Own Banker, or infinite banking is another name for it. You can borrow against it, and this is how it looks. Here's your borrowed borrow position. You can borrow 10 from a particular financial institution that says if you warehouse your money here and save it, we give you a nice rate of return, let's say 7-8%. And when you borrow money, you don't have to use your money when you borrow it. We'll give you our money out of our general account. So here's why it works. I want you to write this one phrase down so you can do your own research on it. Write down EVA, EVA. EVA stands for economic value added. Let me check my time. Okay, economic value added. What does that mean? That means if you have a position of money somewhere that's making a certain rate of return, and it's going to be more than the cost of borrowed money, then you're in a position of economic value added. EVA. It's so funny that this is not being taught in traditional school. You have to go to corporate finance classes to even understand this. And you probably got to have a PhD in economics to even understand it, to use it in your own life. We've learned this, and we're teaching this to everybody that want to know. Let me go over it one more time. Your money's growing at 7%, let's say, and you need 10,000 to take care of a need, want, a desire, whether it's personally or for business. And you can now say, look, okay, I'm not going to use any of this 30 because I like this 30 to turn to 35 to 40, 45. I never want to interrupt it. Compound interest is it's like magic when it grows uninterrupted. So you said, I want to borrow this from this financial institution that where I'm saving the money at, that's giving me 7%. And they say you automatically, it's in your clause, in writing, that you can borrow any up to 92% of the 30,000 with no application, without having to qualify for with your credit or the kind of job or kind of money you make it. They don't look at that. So you can borrow 10,000 with no problem at all. So they send $10,000 to you. And mind you, they're not sending any of your 30 to you. They're sending 10,000 from their general account. So you got that 10. You go do what you want to do with it. You can even invest it over here if you like. That's what I was going to say. Rule number one, and be an investor, never invest your own money when somebody's going to give you their money at a cost that's cheaper than the growth of your money. I said a lot, but that is profound what I just said. Okay, that's why I tell all my clients and all my workshops. Rule number one: don't ever invest your money when somebody's going to give you their money, because they're going to allow you to borrow their money at 4% as a 4% loan, an interest loan. And your money, if it's growing at 7%, 8%, you have a net gain of 3 to 4%, even on borrowed money that you're using for a home or personal use, or you're using for your business. You still have a net gain of 3 to 4%. That's more than what savings accounts give us on just sitting there. Is everybody with me on this, right? This is mind blowing. If you want to know what the wealthy do and why the rich get rich and they stay rich, it's because they understand this about money. What we tend to do is, if we get to the point of being a saver, we save just to spend it down. Save just to spend it down. But if you can say, look, I can borrow against my pool of money and never to spend it down, and I can pay it back at my discretion and my desire and let it continue to compound, right? I eventually will fill this up and need another account. And that's what most people that understand is, over doing this 5 to 7 years, they end up having a second account and a third account, because they never ever spend or separate themselves from this account. Let me go back. I don't know where that happened, but let me go back here. It should be right here. Okay, yep. So in saying all that, let me see how much I got, Catherine. How much time I got? Okay, I got 9 minutes. So here we go. So now, in saying all that, you're in a position of economic value added. This money is there making money. Let's say if you're getting 7% on your money. If you know the rule of 72, the rule of 72 tells you how long it takes your money to double. All you have to do is divide the interest rate you're getting into the number 72. So how many times 7 goes into 72? 10 times. Do you know that 30,000 is going to double every 10 years based off the rule of 72? So your 30 is going to be 60 in 20 years. I mean, excuse me, in 10 years. In 10 years. If it's $30,000 in your account today and you don't do nothing with it but let it grow at 7% in another 10 years, it's going to be 60,000. If you wait another 10 years, the 60 is going to be 120,000. That's the value of dollars that we're not being taught in school. I don't even see most advisors and planners teaching this to their clients. This is what the wealthy understand. Matter of fact, this is what the banks understand. So let me tell you where this is at, and then I'm going to close this out. And this is not enough to really walk away and say, I understand this fully. You want to make sure you take on a complimentary consultation that Catherine can lend to you, so you can really, if nothing else, get your financial planning in place, where you know every dollar is going to be recaptured and grow for you for the rest of your life, right? So here's where this is being done at. I'm going to click this right here. This is actually going to happen when you grow your money in this position. This is actually being done inside of a equity reserve account. Equity reserve account. Let me tell you what an equity reserve account is surrounded by. It's surrounded by a mutual life insurance company. A mutual life insurance company that is never being taught to us has an equity reserve inside of it that allows you and I to not just use it for, you know, for when somebody died. It actually is being used as a bank if we know how to operate it like a bank. And that's what the banks are using it for. That's what corporate America is using it for, and the financial elite is using it for. No one is teaching it to the you and I level, but we do at Core Financial Partners. You literally can get one set up, and it's done only with whole life, not universal life or term insurance or anything like that. It has to be a whole life special design policy that's done inside of a mutual insurance company, not a traditional stockholding company. And when you have all that set up, this could be operated just like a bank. So the interest we normally pay the bank for using their credit cards and car loans and stuff like that, you pay that interest back to yourself. You're transitioning the interest we pay out to the bank, and watch them become million and billionaires. It's reverting right back to us, and it's a life changing situation. It's a life changing transition when you do that. So I'm not going to spend that much more time on it. I just want you to know that not only every dollar going here is going to compound and make money for you, it's also going to buy legacy money for you. The same dollar over here, let's say you had $30,000 over here. If you and I passed away with money over here in any account, mutual fund, 401k, 403b, it doesn't matter, TSP, if you pass away, your family is going to get probably 30-40% less because of state taxes, right? Death taxes. And then over here, this $30,000 over here is going to actually explode and give you and your family probably anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. So which way would you rather have your money, right? Knowing that these things are going to happen in the future. We're going to use the money, right? We're going to need one to desires that's going to cost a few $100s to take care of. Or we're going to separate ourselves from those dollars and let this money grow over here and hope that the market doesn't crash and then be taxed on it. The red here means then you got to pay taxes on it when you withdraw it. And God forbid, if you pass away while it's in there, you still pay taxes on it, estate taxes. Over here, you pass away with 30,000 in here, your family walks away with $500,000 to $1 million, depending on the solving of, you being insured. But all this is being done right under our nose. I want to ask you one more thing to do, and I'm done. I want you to write down the word or acronym BOLI, BOLI, capital B, capital O, capital L, capital I. Let me tell you what that means. That means bank-owned life insurance. Do you know 75% of banks that we bank at, we bank at, TD Bank, Citizens Bank, Bank of America, you name it, right? They all spend 75% of their tier one investments in one of these insurance contracts because they understand that equity reserve that's inside, that's built inside, and they leverage it just like what we're talking about here today. They do the exact same thing I'm telling you to do it, that they would never ever tell us in the public. They would never tell us in school. It's like a hidden secret that is not being taught to most people. And so what we decided to do since 2014, Core Financial Partners is out there teaching us across the country as much as we can. You only heard a snippet of it today. We just wanted to make you aware of it, that if you're an entrepreneur under the sound of my voice, or you're pursuing to be an entrepreneur, even if you just have a career, right? Because some of my clients are just family members that got a career job, or some even college kids going up to starting a career. It doesn't matter. Everybody, I taught this to my son when he was in high school. He got licensed to be able to teach this coming out of high school because no one is teaching this. So whether you're an entrepreneur or to be an entrepreneur in the future, this is the only way to plan and utilize your money. Don't use it, all that work we put in to make it, and here we spend it away, gone forever, when we can recapture it and recycle it, use somebody else's money, and the money's still there growing. You're talking about 30,000 becoming 300,000 quickly. Oh, you can't get any faster than that because you're never spending it down. And the cost that it costs to pay it back is worth it because it still grows your money. It still grows your money. And now this is why wealthy they get wealthy and they stay wealthy. And then you leaving a legacy, it could be almost 100 times more than money in here, depending on how we solve for it, right? So just keep that in mind. Catherine, I just want to stop there. I just want to give them, remember, become your own banker, or the better name for it, if you Google it and look it up, infinite banking concept. IBC, infinite banking concept. It's being talked about, but you must talk to someone that's certified or from a firm that's certified, that understands it in depth. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. Catherine, I'll turn it back over to you. I don't know if you want to see if anybody have
Open up for Q&A. Yeah, before you transition, we'll open it up for Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? When I connected, for those of you remember on Saturday, I had shared I'm a licensed life insurance broker, and I am an affiliate with Core.
Yep.
And we educate, and this is what we wanted to bring to you. And I'm about to go to the second half and talk about the business plan components. But this to me was crucial because a lot of times we have to know how to leverage. That's my takeaway from what Mr. Chamblee was talking about. Knowing how to leverage your money and grow your money. And a lot of times, it's all African Americans on this line, so I'm just going to say it. In our communities, we're not properly educated on how to leverage and multiply our money. We're oftentimes taught how to just go to our job and we get paid the wage of whatever that wage is, and not knocking a job. I had a job too before I started my business. But what we're trying to share and reshift our mindset, and I had to go through a reshift as well. Reshift our mindset on how to leverage the money we have and multiply. So I'm going to pause and see if anybody have any questions for Mr. Chamblee before we go into the components of a business plan. Any questions? Ms. Viola, did you unmute yourself?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I give them this, Catherine, if you don't mind. If they want a little bit more extensive understanding of it, there's a link on our website, Learn More with Core. Learn More with Core. It's a video series. Each video is only about 2 to 4 minutes long. It's about 13 videos. If you watch them in concession, like right behind each other, and get through the whole thing in 37 minutes, you will get a full understanding of what I just went over. I break it down. And we did the videos like that so that one concept like EVA, you can go back and watch that and understand that and get that, or Rule of 72, or, understanding the equity reserve account, which is the whole life contract. It's all broken down to its own video. So I just wanted to put that out there. Learn more with Core, CORE.com.
And I'm going to drop it in the chat. That's learnmorewithcore.com, correct? I just dropped it in the chat.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Chamblee, I appreciate you for your time and coming on and sharing information about how we can leverage our dollars and grow and multiply our money.
Yes, absolutely. And I know if you want to share, when I'll be out there, and if they live in that area, I'll be.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So on Saturday, March the 16th, we're actually having a private financial reception at my studio, 3000 Chestnut Avenue. It's going to be a continuation of the conversation on how to multiply our money, how to leverage our money as entrepreneurs. So if you're in the Baltimore surrounding area, which I believe everyone pretty much is, for anyone that's not, like I know Ms. Camille, you're a distance away, so I definitely can give you the virtual component of it. But for those that's local, you want to be a part of that. It's going to be at 12 noon. Lunch will be provided from Cat Eyes Productions. And so it's going to be Saturday, March the 16th at 12 noon. There's no cover charge to attend. I just need a head count so we can make sure I have enough refreshments. So, so March 16th, mark it off on your calendar, 12 noon, 3000 Chestnut Avenue. I'll drop my office address in the chat as well.
Awesome. And hopefully I can meet everybody in person, and we really will break it down and lay it out. And we have different layers of using it, right? Especially from an entrepreneur standpoint. So I hope to see everybody there. Thanks for giving me your time this evening, and everybody enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And now I'm going to queue up my PowerPoint so we can discuss the components of a business plan. So this is something I feel in business as we're developing and as we're building. This is the cornerstone to any business, is the components of a business plan. And so many of you may either already have one, have already started one, or you may have one that's out of date, or you might be fresh in the very beginning. So I'm going to do the training from a perspective of everybody starting fresh. So an executive summary, your executive summary, I always like to compare this to a trailer to a movie. Think about the movie that the one that comes to my mind was the color purple. I mean, they did so much marketing and promotion around it. People was doing purple carpet events. It just drove people bananas. And they're like, I have to see this movie. That is what your executive summary is supposed to do. If somebody pick up your business plan and they're reading your executive summary, and by the way, it's typically between 2 and 3 pages long for your executive summary. It should pull a person in to the point they're like, fiending for more information, because that's what they did with the color purple, with all the trailers and all the hype on social media. People was fiending for more. People was fiending to see the whole movie. That is what your executive summary is supposed to do. Your executive summary is like a miniature version of the entire business plan. It gives them a sneak preview, just like a trailer to a movie. Now, in your executive summary, you also want to highlight the key components to your company. You want to be very clear about what your company, what industry you're in, what industry you're in, what your services are. You want to be clear. You're giving them just a snapshot. As we talk about the other boxes, I'm going to break that down where you're going to elaborate in full detail. But in the executive summary, you want to hit it, and you want to hit it hard, and you want to be very clear. You want to be very concise. You do not want to have your executive summary to be all over the place and say that you provide all services under the sun. That will not get you an investor. That will not get you a sponsor. That will not get you any grants. I know maybe some online tonight have a for-profit. Some might have a nonprofit. I always say it doesn't matter if you have a nonprofit or for-profit. You should have a business plan. The business plan is your roadmap. So in that executive summary, again, it's a snapshot of your products, your services, what specific industry you're in. So when let's say if you're presenting this to an angel investor, when they look at and read that executive summary, within those first couple of pages, again, it's 2 to 3 pages, they're going to already have in their mind, is this somebody I want to invest into? Is this somebody I want to pour money into? If your executive summary is not clear about what industry you're in, they're not going to read the rest of the business plan, and they're certainly not going to give any funds. So I always tell people, lead with your umbrella company. So like we may have different legs to our businesses. I do as well. So we probably all have that, but you want to lead with your umbrella. So I'm going to give you an example. So when I first started my nonprofit organization many years ago, my umbrella is House of New Beginnings. Now I started that in 2002, but it wasn't until years later in 2013 that I added another component called Speak Life. And officially in 2014 is when I launched the Speak Life tool, which falls under my umbrella company. So when you're doing your executive summary, you want to lead with your umbrella company, right? As you progress throughout the business plan, and I'll explain it as we continue, you can break out the other legs to your business. But in your executive summary, you want to be very clear of what your umbrella, what is your core services. The next box, your company description, right? With your company description, this is where you start to give more meat and potatoes about your company. Your company description needs to talk in further detail about the industry you're in. And I want to highlight that. And you're going to constantly hear me talk about what industry are you in. Because one of the things, if somebody's reading your business plan and they can't figure out, they do this, and they all, it's going to look to them like you all over the place, right? And I know many on the line might be either seeking for funding in some capacity. When someone is picking up your business plan, you don't want to leave any doubt. You don't want to leave any stone unturned. So in your company description, you're even talking about who are the key players in your business, right? Who are the key players? So you're the CEO, obviously, but are there any other key players in your company? Do you have a CFO? Do you have a COO? Do you have 1099 contractors, right? You're going to elaborate more in your staff as we progress and get to the box that says management of organization. But in your company description, you highlight that. So they know that you have a structure, you have a flow chart within your company, right? So when we're talking about creating a business plan, you want to be very meticulous in how you're depicting the picture. So think about your favorite artwork, for example. Or if you're like museums, I love museums. And whenever I go in a museum, I'm always drawn to art pieces. Your company description is like you're creating a visual art piece of your business, right? And you want to be very clear and descriptive of what your company is, what it does, and who's on your team. And what do you do? What are you heading up within your company? Now, this part is key. This orange box, it says market analysis. Market analysis, who is in your back door based on the industry that you're building in, the services that you're offering, who else is in your geographical region that's doing what you do. Because it connects to the next box in yellow that says competitive analysis. A lot of times businesses are not growing strong because they never research the market that they're in. They never research the industry. It's just like, oh, I think I want to do this and it looks cool, so I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. But they never actually researched. We know Google and YouTube is a wealth of endless information and data. What I always tell people when you're trying to do your market analysis, think about what region you want to focus on. And I think everybody on this call is from the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, right? So you want to do a market analysis of the DMV area. I always tell people, if you're on the Maryland side, DC and Virginia border, don't just stop with researching the businesses in your industry in Maryland. You want a regional approach. Now, let's say at some point you may want to expand beyond the DMV. Let's say you want to get into North Carolina or South Carolina and Georgia. That's a regional market analysis. North Carolina, South Carolina, and Atlanta. Again, those three states border one another. They're close in proximity is my point. So when you're doing your market analysis, you want to make sure that you're doing a regional approach of the three closest states that is centered around where you're going to be building your business, okay? You also want to focus on not only the region, you want to focus on how many other participants are in your same industry, how many other businesses are in your same industry. One of the things that I often like to do is research, even in my market. So I'm in the business consulting, business strategy, business strategist market, right? So I had to research how many other consultants that do what I do in my area. Now, based on that research, that's how I figure out what my competitive edge is. I want you to think about right now what industry you're in with your business. Everyone may represent diverse industries, right? But I want you to think about right now what industry you represent. Then I want you to think about who's in your market, who's in your backyard. And if you haven't done the research yet, that's okay. That's a little homework assignment because I know many of you, I'm going to be doing one-on-one coaching, the 30 minutes. And that's the reason why I wanted to do the group session first, so I can talk about the components of the business plan. And that way you can start doing some research. So when we do the one-on-one, we'll have a lot to talk about. So I want you to do a research. If you haven't done a regional 3-state research in your industry, I want you to do that. So if you're taking notes or writing things down, I want you to jot in your notes that you're about to do a research of the industry that you're in and see how many other businesses in your area are doing what you do or something very similar. Because if we talk about the competitive edge, right? There's a book called The 1%, The Slight Edge, right? And in The Slight Edge, it talks about the 1%er. It talks about what is that 1% that's going to set your business apart. But a lot of times in most business plans, we've skipped over the competitive analysis because most say, well, there's nobody that can compete with me. I am an original. And we are all originals. However, we're still in same industries. We're in industry groupings, right? So I'm in the consultant group and I'm a consultant, business consultant. So there's many business consultants. So I had to research and see what are the other consultants are doing so I can distinguish myself within my industry. And I want you to think about right now, what are you doing to distinguish yourself within the industry that you're in? What is your competitive advantage? What is your competitive edge? So when you think about doing your competitive analysis for your business plan, I always say research anywhere from 5 to 10 businesses in that 3-state regional approach. So if you're taking notes, you want to research 5 to 10 businesses that's in that regional area. In our case, is the DMV, that's in your industry that's doing similar type of work. Okay. So between now and when we do our one-on-one coaching, there's 2 things you got to work on. You got to research your market analysis, right? Research what's around in your geographical region, in your specific industry. Also, one of the things I would highlight and for you to do as well. So I like to read different business articles. Inc. magazine is the first one that came to my mind. You got Black Enterprises, so many different articles. I want you to research at least 2 different articles that's in an alignment with your industry. And I want you to research specifically the industry trends. Where is your industry going over the next 10 years? That is going to make a difference when it's time to try to create your marketing plan. We're going to get to that box in a little bit. But a lot of times we don't know where the industry is going. So we're trying to create a marketing plan and we are off base. Imagine if you were driving on a road, right? And for whatever reason, you wasn't paying attention and you started veering to the right, you're out of your lane and you're veering, you could end up into a collision. Many businesses end up in a collision because they never did proper research and never researched where the industry is going over the next 10 years. So that's another takeaway assignment for you to work on independently. So when we get together one-on-one, I want to be able to help you decipher the information that you researched. So that way your competitive analysis, right? Your competitive analysis is going to be based on you're researching those 5 to 10 businesses that's in your region, that's in your industry, and you're seeing what it is that they do. And then when you get to this next box, right? The next box talks about description of management and organization, right? Description of management and organization. And so with the description of management and organization, this is where you break down in full capacity your role. You even actually insert your resume, or you can extract components of your resume and turn it into a bio. And if you have a CFO or a COO that's working with your company, or if you have contractors, some of you may be desiring to bring on W-2 employees at some point. You want to describe your management and your organization. But also, if you have an LLC, this is something I tell everybody. You want to also seek to get your S Corp. That will put you in a different tax bracket, okay? And here's the thing. In our community, it's not often talked about S Corp. They tell you to just go get your LLC. There is no fee that you have to pay to the IRS to even apply. It is a 2-page document. I'm speaking of what I know. I remember I was going to a tax preparer. I'm like, I want to get my S Corp, and he was making it look like it was larger than life and trying to charge this ridiculous number. Then I find out, call IRS myself, they don't even charge you a fee to apply. It takes about 6 months to get approved because that's how long it took me to get mine. But I encourage you, that is something you want to research. That's another takeaway I want you to research is S Corp. What does an S Corp designation mean? Right? It completely will put you in a different tax bracket. So that's something.
Yeah,
Huh?
I'm not throwing on
Oh,
the
hold on. Okay, wait a minute. It's going to completely put you in a different tax bracket. So I want you to research S Corp designation. If that is something you want to do, when we do the 30-minute consultation, we'll go over, it's a 2-page document. You don't have to submit it that day, but if you're interested, I will go over it with you and how to complete it and fill it out. Again, the IRS does not charge a fee for that. So the description of management and organization, this is again where you're going to insert your resume and or your bio and your team. Now, when it talks about in your organization, you can also talk about partnerships, collaborations. I know if anyone is representing a nonprofit organization on the line tonight, you can also talk about who is sponsoring your organization. You may have received some grant funds, so you can talk about the complexity of your organization. This is also where you can talk about the individuals that you're serving, right, within your organization. So description of management needs to be very clear and concise and to the point. Now, this one I really love talking a lot about is the breakdown of your products and your services. This is where I see a lot of businesses tank, not only just in a business plan, but tank as it relates to knowing how to relate or communicate your services to someone else, right? Knowing how to relay it, because a lot of times we're not getting the business that we're looking for, and our sales is not where it needs to be. Our financial outflow is not where it needs to be because we're not clear on our product and services. And I wasn't always clear on my product and services, but I tell you, when I got clear about 4 years ago, that's when everything changed in my business. So even as I'm talking, I want you to be thinking to yourself, what are your core products and services within your business? And as you think about what your core products and services are, I want you to think about, what is your packaging? What is your packaging? What is your price point? And we're going to connect that to when we get to the sales strategy. But before we can talk about sales strategy, we need to know what it is, what the products and services are, and what is your price point. Now, common questions that I get often is, well, I'm not really sure what I should charge. So one of the things that I even did for myself as I was evolving and building my consulting business, I did some research on what other consultants charge in my industry. So if you're feeling a little stuck there, before we do the one-on-one, I just want you to do some research. So then when we do have the one-on-one, I'll be able to help you fine-tune your packaging that you're offering. We're in 2024. You know, I'm not sure what all of everybody's products and services or what price point it is, but you want to make sure your price point is congruent to the economy as to where we are now, right? You don't want to be shooting yourself in the foot is where I'm going with this. And you don't want to price yourself out either. And I want to say this for individuals that are growing and developing their businesses. You know, there was an individual that had came to me, wanted to offer me a social media package, wanted to do some social media. They didn't have any clients. You know, I wanted to give them some business, of course, but the proposal that was submitted was highly inflated. It was above the normal rate. You will lose business. Of course, I did not do business with that person because I knew they had inflated the price. You don't get business that way. You know, it's, and I'm not saying shoot yourself in the foot, but when you inflate your price, especially when you're getting out there and you're trying to acquire clients, you don't have any testimonials yet, you don't have anyone to speak well of your business. If you get one client, you don't trump the numbers up, because that leaves a bad taste, and the person isn't going to do business with you. So you got to be very clear on what your products and services are and price it accordingly into today's economy, right? Why is that important? Because the next box talks about what is your marketing plan. I want you to think about right now, 2023. What did your marketing plan look like for last year? And now we're about to come into the month of March of this year, and it's going to be, the first quarter going to be done. It's going to be done. And so why am I saying reflect on last year? And now I want you to think about the first quarter of this year. What does your marketing even look like? What is your marketing plan? As some suggestions that I would like to offer tonight, when you're thinking about your marketing plan, I want you to think about who is your target audience. A lot of times we're not really getting the customers that we want, the clientele that we want, because we're not clear on the target audience. Earlier today, I attended a mastermind class. I was invited the night before. I was like, sure, I didn't even know all the content that was going to be discussed, but it was absolutely powerful. And this was one of the things that was talked about this morning, is that your marketing plan has to be parallel to who your target audience is. And here's the thing. Everybody cannot be your target audience. You may have 3 core, you know, focus areas of who you want to market your services, but never say to an investor or somebody that wants to give you funds, I cater to everybody. They will look at you funny. They may not even say no, but they'll look at you funny, because they want to know, are you very clear on who your target audience is, right? So Strategic Collaboration Network, that's my umbrella company on my for-profit side. I have a for-profit business and I have my nonprofit. My nonprofit is House of New Beginnings. For-profit Strategic Collaboration Network, 2 separate entities, right? 2 different ways, filing system when it comes to my taxes. And so when we talk about the marketing plan, how I market for House of New Beginnings, my nonprofit, is very different, and how I market for my for-profit Strategic Collaboration Network. Completely different marketing plans, completely different target audiences. So I want you to think, because you may have multiple businesses, and I'm not saying not to have multiple businesses, but what I am saying is you got to be clear and distinguish your marketing strategy depending upon what business model it is, right? Because that tanks a business when you're not very clear on your marketing plan. And then you got to get clear on who your target audience is. And then within your target audience, you got to get clear on what geographical region are you targeting in that target audience, right? So we know we're in the DMV, but I have clients outside of the DMV. I have clients in North Carolina, South Carolina, right all up and down 95, right? So I'm not held hostage to DMV. And we know, because of today's technology, none of us have to be hostage. So I want you to expand your mind for a second. Beyond the DMV, what other state would you like to grow your business into? I'm not saying you have to do it next month, but I just want you to think about, if you were to expand your business by the end of this year, what additional state outside of the DMV would you like to expand into? So I'm going to give you an example. When I had the Speak Life Tour, which I still have, and I'm evolving it, but I want to talk about my beginning phases, because the Speak Life Tour was a national tour. I took youth from Baltimore City. We went to Cali, New York. We went all over. The strategy that I used to even get into new markets that I didn't know anybody, I identified members of the said community that I was going to. I identified the influencers from those communities and I built relationships with them. So by the time I brought the youth from Baltimore to that particular area, there was already a connection. I remember when we went to Cali and we took our young people to Cali, I partnered with 2 civic organizations out there. They already was entrenched in the community. They already had a huge following. So when I brought our youth performers from Baltimore to Cali, it was already a built-in audience, right? So when you're thinking about expanding into multiple markets and expanding into other states, the best strategy is to build relationships with the influencers in that market. But here's the thing, nobody wants you just to come on their turf just to take. It has to be a mutual connection. It has to be a give and take, right? Somebody's pouring into you, you pour into them. Same thing, because of, somebody coming into a new area, they kind of curious, are you coming to take my business? Or, all these kind of things will pop up in people's mind. But when you present your business as, listen, I'm expanding and I want to collaborate. How can we collaborate together? How can we partner together, right? And then the next box talks about sales strategy. If your products and services, your marketing is not clear, the sales will be at 0. Just think about last year for a second. And this is not, you don't have to speak it out loud, but just think to yourself, what did your financial revenue look like for 2023? I'm talking about with your business, not anything else. Some may be working and having a business on the side. I'm talking about just your business. What financial revenue came from your business in 2023? Just pencil that in your head. Now I want you to think about this year. January, February, about done in the next couple of days. March 1st is on Friday. What do you think you're going to end the first quarter with financially? Because March is going to be the end of the first quarter, coming the end of March. What do you want your financial goals to be? We still got time. What do you want your financial goals? And how do you want to close out the first quarter with your sales? Now, when I talk about this box, I always like to tell people, your sales will be at 0 if your funnel is at 0. I learned years ago, I had attended this marketing class, and I'll never forget the instructor said, always keep 10 in play. And what the instructor meant by that was, at any given point in time in a 30-day calendar, you need to have a potential 10 customers that's in your geographical region, that's in your target market, that want your services. If you don't have a funnel, if your funnel is dry, if you have no one to talk to throughout the week, I'm talking about in terms of potential customers, your sales is going to be 0. Depending upon what industry you're in, some people buy leads, and I don't focus on buying leads or anything. I build warm market. I build warm relationships with people. To me, that's the most effective way of having, your business to be thriving. So I want you to think about right now, this is the 27th of February. We have till the 29th. The 29th is the last day of this month. I want you to think about, what does your sales funnel look right now? Just think to yourself, what does your sales funnel look like? In other words, how many potential customers do you have right now that you're going to close out by the end of this month or by Friday, which is March 1st? Just pencil note it to yourself. Just reflect to yourself. If your answer is, I have no customers in the queue, then you got to think about, what was your marketing strategy? And then was your product and services clearly communicated to your target audience in your geographical region, right? You got to get very clear, your target audience, and what geographical region are you focusing on, right? If you have no one in your funnel, again, the sales will be at 0. Then the last box says financial projection. So the example that I'm going to use tonight, let's say your goal is to make $100,000 this year in your business. If your goal exceeds that, just put whatever that number is. But for the example that I'm going to use is going to be based off of 100,000. Okay. So if your goal this year is to make $100,000 within your business, that breaks down to $8,333 per month. So remember, I had told you there was a season about 4 years ago when I had to shift my mindset with my business. I remember I had a conversation with 2 of my colleagues, and I said, you know what, the business got to change. Everything got to shift. Everything got to turn around. And that was the year that I made a decision that I was going to break into my 6-figure with my business. Sometimes it's about making a decision. And I broke it down. Okay, so 100K, that's $8,333 per month. So if it's going to take 8,333 per month, then I had to say to myself, what products and services am I going to offer to generate that kind of money every month? And then once I got clear with that, then I had to say, well, then how many customers do I need to hit the 8,333? So that's the same math that you need to do to math you need to do to yourself, or think to yourself, should I say. Once you're clear on your products and services and it's priced appropriately for what you're offering, then you need to think about how many customers do you need. But here's what I want to say about the customers. You know, again, like I was telling you about with the person that totally gave me a quote, was far-fetched with the number. I didn't do business. You want to make sure what you're offering is matching, what you're asking for financially is matching what you're offering to that particular client, right? You cannot go wrong if those two things are parallel. Now, some may say, well, it's parallel, but I'm still not getting customers. Perhaps you're presenting your products and services to the wrong target audience, right? And then you also have to see, well, based on your price point, can this target audience that you've been trying to pitch to, can they afford your services, right? And here's the thing, we're in a digital age. So you can also, depending upon what your services are or what your industry you're in, you can start offering digital services that anyone can afford within their budget. But keep in mind, your high ticket items is what's going to generate your 6 figures for that year. So whenever I'm coaching someone, even when I'm doing the one-on-one coachings, I have several one-on-one coaching set up for next week. If we have not set up your one-on-one, text me. I think everybody got a text message from me. If we have not set up your one-on-one, just text me a date and time for next week, and I'm gonna look at my calendar and we can confirm it. Because one of the things I want to do when we do the one-on-ones, I really encourage everybody, let your goal be 6 figures. Let your goal at least minimum $100,000 for your business. That's what I want to coach from when we do those one-on-ones. That you want to build a nest egg or a revenue from your business of 100K. It can be more than that, but not. I'm softly suggesting don't go under 100K. Here's why I'm softly suggesting that, because you got to factor in taxes. You're not going to keep all 100K. You got to pay the IRS. So then whatever you got to pay the IRS, you're going to be left with the difference. But then because it's also a business, you got to do your Schedule C. So of course you can write certain things off when it comes to tax time. But at the same time, I tell people, if you're going to do a business, and I referenced this on Saturday, you got to determine, is it a hustle, is it a hobby, or is it a business? Personally, if somebody say they want to build a business, and if I'm coaching you, I'm going to encourage you to shoot for 100K, not under 100K. So again, 8,333 is the money that you want to generate to hit that goal. Then you got to determine what type of contracts do you need? Because that's another way you can generate that money is contracts, right? Some of you may need to get your business license to be in position. I had got several contracts in the Washington, D.C. area. And it blew my mind with the potential and the possibility. So that's one of the other things I'm going to talk to you about on the one-on-one is how to walk you through, if you don't have a business license, to get your business license, because that'll open up doors of opportunity for you to be able to get contracts. Contracts will be that consistent, steady flow money coming in. But I always tell people, you want to have a blended approach with your financial projection. Don't just, if you represent a nonprofit, or a lot of people are constantly asking me about grants, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think you should have a blended approach. You have your stream of income, your cash flow. Here's why. You have to show cash flow coming through your bank account. You have to show the cash flow, because that shows that your business is a living, breathing entity. There was an individual that came to me and they're dealing with some issues right now with tax time because they was just cash and carry all last year. They don't have anything to track. So, and I know it's 8:32 and I want to respect everyone's time, and we'll pick up when we do the one-on-ones, but I definitely want to get this out. You want to track your money. So you can either use QuickBooks. I know it's something out there called Quicken. That's one of the things I'm going to go over with you too on the one-on-ones, the different options on how you can track your money. Because the one thing I will encourage, if you do go the QuickBooks route, you can actually populate reports. I had a one-on-one yesterday with a business owner. She actually was at the conference on Saturday, and she has QuickBooks, and so, but she needs help with how to interpret her reports. So she's going to print off her reports. We do the one-on-one, and I'm going to help her interpret it because she has to get her taxes done. But here's a word to the wise also, because a common question or statement I get, well, the tax preparer was charging me so much money. They will charge you and increase their rate if you don't have a lot of your affairs in order. Like one one person I know, he said he just took a bunch of receipts and it wasn't in order. So what I'm doing with this one lady, I'm gonna help her get everything in order. So when she get to the tax preparer, it's very clean, it's very put together, and they're not gonna add extra charges, because the more things are all over the place and the tax preparer gotta put it together, they're gonna charge you more. So hopefully something that was said tonight was helpful. I want to respect the time. I know I'm indicated that it's going to be a 1 hour for this evening. So I want to open up if there's any questions on anything I've talked about the business plan. Questions, comments, feedback.
It was very helpful in the mess, and I have some other questions on the sidebar.
Okay. So Natasha, send me a text message so we can set up your one-on-one, okay?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. And if anybody, let me just drop my number in the chat in case somebody does not have my number. 437996529. And I mentioned on Saturday, again, this is a 30-minute complimentary. I'm not charging for that. I really want you to get clear on how to create your business plan. So that's why tonight I wanted to do the group first, talk about the components of the business plan. So when we do the one-on-one, you kind of already got a heads up of where the conversation is going to go. Any other questions, comments, or feedback about tonight? Was tonight helpful?
It was. I do have one question. I do want to, so and for me, I'm a pen and paper. So I do have all of my numbers, but I write them in a notebook and I also use